Welcome back to Capital, Karen Carpenter.
Thank you.
Very wisely refused a cup of coffee.
Well, I figured when you're in the land of tea, you should have tea. I love your tea. It's terrific.
Well, you're very kind. The kind we make at home is slightly different from the kind we drink here, of course. Listen, I'm very sorry to see that you are alone. How is Richard?
Well, I spoke to home the night before last, the night we got in. And he seems to be coming along, but he's not up yet. He's got a real nice case of the flu. And it's not only Rich, everybody I know is sick. Because, I don't know if you've heard, it's like 30 degrees in Los Angeles, which is such a departure from L.A. weather. After you've lived in L.A. for a long time, if it goes down to 60, you're dying. I mean, oh, my God, it's freezing. It's 60 degrees. And at 30, people don't know what to do with themselves. And it just caught him off guard, and boom.
So he's right in the middle of it now?
Yep.
When do you hope to see him?
Well, we go home on Thursday. And hopefully he should be starting to get up, I hope. But it seems to knock you out for like 2 weeks.
Oh, sure. It weakens you, depresses you.
Yeah.
He's not going to feel like doing anything for it.
No, well, he should stay home and get better, you know.
Is this just a seasonal nastiness, or are you still driving yourselves desperately hard and leaving yourselves open to this kind of thing?
No. We've, over the last year, or even more than that, we've been doing more of chosen things, you know. With, we just finished our latest Christmas special, home in L.A.
Yeah.
And it's taken off and on over 14 months for us to finish the Christmas album that we just released.
That's fantastic. It's a marvelous-looking thing. It was, in fact, I read Richard's present as a little lad that inspired this new album, so someone claims. He was given something by Spike Jones.
Absolutely. It seems to me, didn't we discuss Spike Jones the last time we were here?
Well, yes, it's an amazing connection, you and Spike Jones. I mean, tell us about that one.
Well, my dad was a record collector, and he had an awful lot of Spike stuff. And there was one album that I remember from the day I was born, and it was Spike Jones' Christmas album. And
it was different from the zany stuff he usually did.
There are some zany things on there, but Spike always, I'm not sure how familiar all the people are with him over here.
Well, the kids won't know him at all, of course.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, Spike Jones was a master at zany stuff. And a lot of people don't know that it takes more talent and more perfection to pull off crackpot things than it does to do a lot of serious things. And Spike did it with such, he was the best.
Yeah.
But this album was a combination of, you know, nutty and serious. And we grew up with that album and just loved it to death. And when we finally got around to doing this album, which we've wanted to do for 9 years, the first thing Rich said is, we've got to do this, and this, you know, off the Spike Jones album. And we were even going to go to get a gentleman named Judd Conlon to do a lot of the vocal arrangements, who did the original Spike Jones album.
Well, I cried at your wedding and stuff like that. Was that Spike Jones?
That's one I don't remember.
I laughed at your wedding, rather, not I cried at. There may have been. But
no doubt it would have been laughed. But Judd Conlon, unluckily, we found that he'd passed on. So we immediately called Peter Knight, the fantastic, brilliant orchestrator, right from here.
Yes,
and
Peter Knight, right.
He came over and just did a fantastic job. It was Peter and Billy May, who was a very famous arranger.
Oh, yes,
in
very
the
familiar
States.
sound, right.
And Richard's had this concept in his mind for a long time.
And it's taken 14 months, actually, to get on.
14 months.
Yeah. Well, we're going to hear some of it, of course. Unmistakable Carpenter's sound, and Karen is my guest, because Richard's at home in Los Angeles with the flu. You the last time you came, and you very nicely reminded me of it, you heard on this program that Man Smart, Woman Smart.
Right.
I remember Richard sort of keeled over with pleasure at that record.
Oh, he loved it. And I could tell, you know, I mean, his eyes just went out a foot, and he asked you if he could, where he could get a copy. And I was so glad when you said, here, why don't you take this one? Because he was just tickled blue. I mean, and we went home and maybe a year later, we finally got it on an album. It was a really interesting tune, that Robert Palmer version.
Yeah. Well, that's a lovely story. You're here to do a television show, aren't you?
Right. We're going to do the Bruce Forsyth show.
Yeah.
And we came in to do that and to come see you and some radio things, maybe a couple of press things, because we were told just about maybe 10 days ago how terrific the singles album was doing. So let's go.
Well,
here we are.
Delighted. So how are you adapting what you're doing with Bruce without your brother?
Well, we just had to, I've got all the guys in my group with me. And they luckily can go in a lot of different directions. So we covered it that way with the guys just taking different roles. And needless to say, I had to do more than what I would have to do if he were here, you know. So everybody's just working a little harder.
And what sort of stuff are you doing? Stuff from the album, I assume, as well?
Yes, we're doing Need to Be in Love, Postman, and then Merry Christmas, Darling from the Christmas album. And then we're going to do, I'm going to do a duet with Bruce. I can't wait to do that. I saw, the producers came up and showed me a tape of a couple of his shows. He's a riot.
Yes, he's an amazing man, you're right.
Very entertaining.
I think you make a lovely couple.
It looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, let's have a track from the album. In fact, it is a single, as we all well know. Santa Claus is Coming to Town, and although that title is on the Christmas LP called Christmas Portrait of the Carpenters, that is a slightly different version. We'll hear something from the LP in just a moment. Karen, you've got a huge ensemble on this LP. You've got a 48-singer chorus, a 50-piece orchestra.
Right.
That's partly what took so long to get together.
Well, yeah, that was a lot of it that was involved. Because when we finally got around to doing this, as I said, this has been in our heads for a long time. He wanted the biggest sound that we could get. And having Peter writing, you know, he just said, you know, write for whatever you want to. And there were times when we had the orc up to 80 and over.
Wow. And
there were a couple of tunes on the album where we had 70 voice choirs. Because Christmas music warrants that, you know.
Yes, of course it does.
And it just lays so beautifully. The bigger the better, you know. And he was...
Well, what you've done, as you've done before, is very cleverly, musically, you've linked one thing to the other. A DJ's nightmare, of course, to pluck one from the other. But let's see if I can get this one out. Let's try. Gotcha. That's really exultant music, Karen. You must have been very happy to do that.
Oh, it was a pleasure. I could keep doing it, you know, right through next year. In fact, we had so many that we wanted to do that we had to leave off at least 12. And we were really upset about that, but we didn't have any more room.
Yes, the choice must be difficult. As we were saying here while it was on, it reminds you of one of those really heartwarming Hollywood movies of the 40s.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Lovely stuff. What is the most popular carol in the States? Are they different from ours? We had kids who come from schools that record carols here, and the American school in London, and they did something. What did they do? I don't know if I knew it. I've got the list down here. Oh, how joyful they sang. What is the most popular carol, do you reckon? Or what's your own favorite?
Oh, dear. I've got so many favorites that it would take an hour. I think Jingle Bells and Silent Night.
Yes, yeah.
I think they're pretty much the same worldwide in a lot of ways.
How do you spend your Christmas? Is any Christmas the same as the one before? Do you try to keep it together?
Oh, yeah. It's definitely family time. Last year we worked. We did a huge show in Las Vegas because, as I mentioned, we started working on this album a year ago, August.
Yes.
And we had a lot of the music that's on there already learned and recorded. And when we went into Vegas, we thought, since we've got it, we might as well utilize it. So we normally have like a 40-piece orchestra there, and we took a 24-voice choir. And by the time we got done, we had like 75, 76 people on the stage.
Where did you do it?
Just beautiful. The MGM Grand.
Ah, yes.
which was a good thing. It was very grand.
It's a mighty place. It's like the Albert Hall. I've been there.
Oh, it's huge.
Yes.
The casino is the size of a football field.
Yeah. Massive place. Cost, what, $110 million when it was built, and that was a very long time ago.
It's monstrous, and they just built a new one in Reno that's twice the size.
Well, I can't imagine Las Vegas at Christmas, but of course there's...
That's what we said.
Yeah.
You know, I said, no, you got to be putting me on Vegas at Christmas, you know. But somehow or another, it worked. And everybody was in a terrific Christmas spirit, and the show itself was just Christmas from top to bottom. And it was a pleasure. It really was.
Well, here you are. You're doing your show with Bruce Forsyth, which, of course, we shall see at Christmas. And your brother's languishing at home, wishing he had the strength to be here. What about the direction of your music? Any more wild stage shows planned? What are you going to do?
Well, at this point, in fact, while we're here, our management is discussing the tour to come back, which I want to do very soon. Because I remember last time we were here, we had the terrific engagement at the Palladium, and then we did the Toys for Tots.
Yeah.
That third show on that Friday night. Boy, was that something. And we really want to get back here soon. As far as in the States, when we go home, we're just going to take it easy over the holidays. And then we'll be working on our next show. We just finished our latest Christmas show. And in February, we start working on the next one, which will be our 5th special. In fact, we're going to center it around the fact that it's our 10th anniversary in the music business.
Yes. That seems a nice time to say thanks for coming. My goodness.
Thank you.
Well, give Richard our best wishes. Hope he's
I will.
well soon, and thanks for coming.
My pleasure.